Spotted Reviews, and today I'd like to talk about a movie that came out as a rental on some various streaming platforms out there, including Amazon Prime, the 2020 movie Terror at Bigfoot Pond. Alright, now for those of you that are wondering if I've lost my damn mind, I was not going into this with rose-colored glasses. I was not expecting a good movie. I mean, look at the title, look at the poster, come on. Come on. I was not expecting a good movie, but what I was wondering is this a bad movie or is this a good bad movie? Of course, keeping an open mind for the possibility of it being good, but not holding out a huge amount of hope. And sure enough, this was just as awful as I thought it would be. Actually, I would have to say it was much worse than I thought it would be. But the question still remained, is it a bad movie or a good bad movie? Well, that really kind of comes down to a whole lot of variables. And those are what I want to discuss here today. Now, I have in my scoring system, if you're familiar with my channel, my videos, and my scoring system, a category of intent. And that is basically trying to give some accolades for movies that are simply trying to be something, even if it's a failure on every other level. This was actually born from Mortal Kombat, the movie that came out in the 90s. And it's been kind of a placeholder for me as far as arguing in advocation for films. I was basically saying, look, this was trying to be nothing more than just a video game adaptation with some awesome techno music, some awesome martial arts, some homage to Enter the Dragon, things like that, and it succeeded wildly, in my opinion. So even though it could be argued that the rest of the movie wasn't really that great, what it intended to be, it succeeded at, and I want to give that some merit to those movies. So why am I bringing all this up? Well, the thing I was trying to figure out is what the fuck was this movie's intention? And the plot of this movie is basically a group of 20-somethings get together, hike out in nature, spend some time at Bigfoot Pond, and sure enough, start getting attacked by Bigfoot. That's really it. There's nothing more to this at all. No twists, no surprises. They just go there, they spend time at the pond, they get attacked by Bigfoot. End credits. And even after having watched it, I gotta be honest, I really still had no idea what the intention of this movie was. I mean, either it was purposefully being bad, or it was simply a low-budget, low-effort production. And determining what it was really trying for kind of determines how much I'm going to score it on the intent, so it was a little bit of a difficult call for me. Now, I did attempt to reach out to the film's director, David Rambaldi, and despite having a few different methods of communication attempts, I haven't heard word one back. So I'm going to have to just kind of go with my gut on this one and say that the intention of this movie was to churn out a low-budget, low-effort production to get just a movie out there. And as far as it being as bad as it is, just kind of chalk that up to not necessarily being purposeful, but also not necessarily being something that was amateurish as much as it was lazy. I don't know. I'm going to have to do my best to judge this. But here's the thing about this. As far as whether it's a bad movie or a good bad movie, it comes down to several things. And mostly what it comes down to for me is, did I have fun watching this? And yeah, I did. I had so many laugh out loud moments in this movie, and I kind of hate ragging on it, but at the same time, it's difficult to really look beyond some of these glaring errors that are just peppered throughout. This movie is a dream factory for anybody that has edited any video ever. We have scenes in which a character will repeat their dialogue, not because they're trying to make an emphasis on any kind of statement, but simply because they've switched to a different angle and they never caught it in the editing room, how it just basically doubled up the dialogue. We have scenes where they captured bass level noise as kind of a white noise in the background with the express purpose of when you switch angles or you switch camera positions in a particular scene, you need to have a baseline background audio of the room, of that angle and so forth, and then you just kind of loop it throughout. You need to have everybody super quiet, no sound on set. You're just getting the ambient noise of the room, and that's something that you loop through so that the scene seems seamless. But in this case, they didn't do a great job of keeping people quiet, so you'll actually hear people whispering to one another continuously in a loop, constantly one after another, the same thing in repetition, a whisper, a whisper, a whisper, a whisper of the same thing as it loops the background audio. It's just the most ham-fisted, lazy, technical mess, but it's a glorious thing to watch because I was having so much fun. All sorts of different things, like the fact that they were spending time at this Bigfoot Pond that was so grand that it had a mile marker sign, 1.7 some odd miles to Bigfoot Pond, go this way. And then when they get there, it's basically just a puddle. They go when they try to skinny dip in this thing, and it's basically shin deep. So they're basically naked and flailing around in this little mud puddle trying to figure out how to look like they're having fun swimming. It really was hilarious trying to watch them make the most of what they could out of this movie that had probably a production budget to pay enough people in Dunkin' Donuts combos. Not to mention the actual Bigfoot costume itself was a laugh riot. This is something where I was actually kind of considering that maybe it was purposeful, just how bad and how silly this damn thing was. But even so, even if it wasn't, the whole thing was just shrieking of schlock, and I had a gloriously fun time watching this terrible, terrible, terrible movie. And I really want that part to be emphasized because I don't want anybody misconstruing my words and taking the notion that I had fun with this and making it so that it seems like this is worth watching or this would be fun for anybody else. I personally just think that this absolutely earns the rotted reviews, good, bad movie stamp of approval. I want to warn everybody that this is not a movie that is worth watching if you want to watch something good. However, if you are with a group of friends and you're all high as a kite, please kick it on. If you have any sort of production or post-production experience in film, any kind of editing, anything like that, I really can't recommend this enough. It is a joy to just absorb a movie that is basically nothing but non-stop mistakes. Now again, it's available with a rental fee, and I honestly don't know, even under those circumstances, if it's actually worth paying for. If it ever winds up on Amazon Prime as part of the Prime membership without a rental fee attached, or if it winds up on Tubi TV, then yeah, I would recommend under those caveats and so forth that it's definitely worth a shot just to absorb the material. But paying a rental fee, that's a little bit much in terms of me putting out a recommendation. I'm willing to dive on this sword, but I don't necessarily want to recommend that anybody else does. So that should about do it. That's my review, as much as it is, of Terror at Bigfoot Pond. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.